So, Geek Protagonist here, and I'm just stupidly confused. So, I see DC drops a bunch of announcements, and I was like, because I was on the break, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, cool, Fables is coming back. There was a couple other things here, like there's a Teen Titans book, kind of perked my ears up because it's like the old school Titans with Dick Grayson and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I see this announcement for HBO Max called Velma. I'm like, haven't this already proven that when you guys separate Scooby-Doo in them that it doesn't really work well? Didn't that happen with the Velma Daphne only movie that no one really cared? But okay, well, let me check it out. So it's an adult cartoon without the van, without Scooby. Mindy Kaling's writing it, which I was like, okay, I like Mindy Kaling. She's pretty cool. I watched a couple episodes of her show, but overall I've seen her in a lot of movies, Judd Apatow movies and stuff. I've always liked her. So as I keep reading, they're gonna change Velma to East Asian, which is what Mindy Kaling is, which is very confusing because Velma is the smart, nerdy type, and isn't that a stereotype that you would want to get away from? I mean, I could be wrong, just saying, that stereotype. Then they're like, we're gonna change this. You know, it's gonna be an adult cartoon. Oh, there's a deer. Good thing I was paying attention. And it's like, wait, what? So you're changing her race. The show is specifically about her. It doesn't seem like anyone else is gonna be for Scooby-Doo on it. And it's like, why? Why call the show Velma? That's not Velma. Also, too, this is like as bad as the idea where they're like, we're gonna make a Superman show without Superman. We're gonna have Lois and the Adventures of Lois. Nobody cares. She only becomes cool when she deals with Superman, and then she's awesome. But prior to that, it's the piggyback. We are introduced to her when she gets the Pulitzer Prize thing for writing about Superman, and then that's how you find the importance of Lois. I don't get it. And then I see this stuff like on the thing. I go back to my Google, and then I see articles like someone was like, the toxic fandom is going volcanic or something. I'm like, what? I looked at the time, I'm like, this just dropped. and I seen a thing with like, I seen a couple articles just start popping up saying about how bad it is and how the white guys are mad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody made a video yet. It is dumb. And a second thing too, I don't even remember which article it was. One of them was like, they've changed Velma's race and white people are not happy. They did it in the Scoob movie. Seemed like that movie got pretty okay with people. They did it in the Scoob movie. They made her Latina, which didn't even make sense. I was like, what was the point? But at the same time, I was like, okay, you know what? They wanted to try to add a little diversity, whatever. Then I see this thing where someone was like, then I'm seeing like people tweeting, like I'm trying to find examples of this. I don't see it. Then I see it where they're like, Velma's always been gay or queer. Remember that? And I'm like, no, she wasn't. Are you people, like, I'm so sick of these people touching things. If you're not a fan and you don't know what it is, don't touch it. No, she wasn't. The last cartoon show that they were in, she was dating Shaggy. And then in the live action movie, she was dating a guy. She's not queer. Now, if you decide to make her in the Scoob, I don't even remember her being queer in the Scoob movie. I can't actually remember. Maybe she was. I don't know. But she's never always been queer. That's like when this one girl I was talking to, she kept telling me Batgirl was gay. It said it just like that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I said, wait. And she was like, I'm like, first off, she's like, she's always been. And I'm like, Batgirl or Batwoman? And then she goes, Batgirl, the one with the red hair. I'm like, they both have red hair. Black suit or blue suit? So she goes, the black suit one. She's been a lipstick lesbian since day one. I'm like, no, she hasn't. That was a retcon. Yes, she has. I know. Because and she said some really offensive thing about queer people. Because basically she called herself something. The second part is hag. And she was like wearing it as a badge of honor. I'm like, I don't think people like that term. And she was like, no, I'm totally a F hag. Just take the H and switch out the F. And she was saying this constantly. She like reveled in the idea of homosexuality, but this was back in college, but treated it more like I'm okay, but it was weird. It was like, she was like, I'm an ally because I like being quirky. And I'm like, well, I have friends that are gay and you know, different, like, they don't like that term. And she's like, yes. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and this channel will have more of it, as you will see in the future. Overall, as a geek, my number one geek thing is comic books. I am a comic book nut. So I know my comic book history. And I had to bring up the original thing when I was like, she was intended to be a love interest for Batman prior to them making her his cousin. I had to go through this. She's always been lipstick lesbian. So I had to go through this whole thing. And she's like, you just had to be right. I'm like, why do I have to be right? Why did you have to open your mouth? You're wrong. You're talking about something you don't know about because you romanticized people being gay. You romanticized someone's sexual orientation. Sorry, that's a tangent, but it does make a point. And the point being is, when I'm seeing them say this, and they're like, I'm like, she's not always been queer. She's Caucasian, and you guys decided to make her Latina. Honestly, Latino, a lot of times, most times, ended up, when you go by race standard, they end up being Caucasian. They're white. I mean, I know some people may argue, but I'm talking about just straight race. You know, black, white, Pacific Islander, Asian, that. Most Latinos fall under category of white. So I was like, okay. But to make her that, it's weird. And it's another one of those virtue signaling things where the person, instead of using their raw talent to try to write something, because they're using Velma's name because Velma is known. I mean, she's not the most popular character, but she's known. People know her. And I'm like, well, if you're going to use, why are you piggybacking off the name instead of making something original? That means that you are afraid your project is not going to be good. And it wouldn't be good under any other circumstances. Now, it seems like there's people praising it, but we'll see how many of them actually check it out. Then it's an adult cartoon. It's weird. I'm like, Scooby's not... So wait, you're making it an adult cartoon. You're pretty much writing yourself. I wouldn't be shocked if Mindy Kaling is voicing Velma. And I'm like... And then they're like, well, white people are not happy. Why is it always white people aren't happy? I'm not happy about it. I think it's stupid. It's pointless. And this is what, I mean, for anybody that's watching this video, getting ready to either downvote it and be like, oh, you're just being racist because she changed color and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's take a recent character that people have come to know that's made his forefront a little bit because he had a very successful cartoon, Miles Morales. So let's say I was going to do a Sony TV show off of Disney Plus, an adult cartoon about Miles Morales. Remember I said an adult cartoon. He doesn't have his spider powers. As a matter of fact, he is now Korean. And he likes to sing. That's his thing. He just likes to sing. And then I turn around and go, hey, check out the new Spider-Man cartoon. You're going to be like, wait, what? What does this have to do with Spider-Man? I want to stop over there. I had to go down and come back. And that's the problem. It starts to turn into, you start to question it. What does this have to do with Spider-Man? And it's like, I don't why is your car so decked out if you are a student driver? Weird. Anyway, it's like, if you don't want to be Spider-Man, or if I want to write a story, why am I using Spider-Man to write that story? It doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I took away his powers. I changed his race. I changed his interest. He's no longer being a superhero, and I'm making it an adult funny cartoon. Like, how does that work? That's no longer Miles Morales that you know, but I go, this is Miles Morales' Spider-Man cartoon. Are you seeing what the problem is? And I'm just sick of it where they're like, well, see, and they're mad. Yes. They're mad because they don't want you to keep doing this stupid, lazy writing stuff. It's lazy writing. She's writing herself. So for all that, why don't you just call it like Mindy Solves Mysteries or Mindy's Mysteries? And you can make your own cast. Simple as that. Mindy's Mysteries. Young person, East Asian descent. You have a big enough name. I think people will watch. I mean, I would think so. Sounds like you don't actually have the confidence for it. But it's so goofy. It's like, and then they're like, oh, people are going to get mad. I'm like, because it's dumb. It's not even a decision. It's a pointless decision on a character. All right, listen. Scrappy. Scrappy-Doo is my favorite Scooby-Doo character. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. Scrappy was awesome. Favorite series of Scooby-Doo ever was 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I would be weirded out if they made a adult cartoon Scrappy show. I just don't get it. I mean, y'all tell me what you think. I think it's a bunch of lazy people, and this is the problem with all of this SJW garbage, is that these people are just writing themselves into these characters and then writing power fantasies that have nothing to do with the characters half the time, and then trying to point fingers about people who get mad at them for said thing because it doesn't make sense, because that's so far removed from the source material. Even when they made her Latina, she still was smart, intelligent, like she still was Velma. She still did her stuff. I didn't hear nothing about her being smart, and if she is, it's kind of playing into a stereotype. Then people are like, well, she's queer. And I'm like, where did this queer thing come from? Like I said, I can't remember. Was she queer in the Scoop movie? Did they establish that, or did they focus more on actually telling a story? I just don't get it. You guys tell me what you think. Like I said, I'm not even angry as much as I'm actually legitimately confused, and I'm annoyed at the laziness of it. And I actually expect more out of Mindy Kaling. Like, that's what it comes down to. I actually expected better from her. Like I said, I've seen some of the Mindy project. I thought it was pretty good. I think, you know, she's a strong, progressive woman of color making her way in the world. And I'm like, that's great. And you're going to do the most laziest route possible instead of making your own show like Mindy's Mysteries or something, which could have been actually really cool. Now that I just thought about it. Instead, you're doing that? But Velma? Man, get out of here. Geek protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. And I'll see you.